Hey guys, I just got a big pile of comics. I was at King Kon in New Jersey this weekend. I got this huge pile. What's in here? Let's take a look on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey guys, this is Jim from Bronzeville Comics. Welcome, comic community, to another of my YouTube videos. This is another haul video. This was a huge haul. So on Saturday, I went to the King Kon convention in Clark, New Jersey. It was a great convention. It was the first time they've held this convention. It was extremely well run. So many members from the YouTube and IG communities were out there really supporting this show. I've talked about it on previous videos. If you watch Very Gary or Erod, Pressable Defects, 3 Men in a Basement, all these creators were content creators in the YouTube arena, were supporting this show, putting the information out there. It truly was for the community, by the community. I had a blast. Got the early bird pass. I got there a little before 9. Was on the floor for, what would that be, 7 hours. I walked out of the hotel and looked at my watch. It was 4 o'clock. That's when the show was over. There were 2 rooms set up, a large room with a good number of vendors, and then there were a handful of vendors in a smaller room. There were some people set up in the hallway outside, and it was in a Holiday Inn in Clark, New Jersey. I spent a lot of time at Streetside Anthony's table. He was set up there. Erod was right next to him. Very Gary probably had the best selection of books. He had a really good, and there were a number of other really great vendors, some really good deals to be had there. Hopefully, as a community, we get to do a show like this again real soon. They're hopeful of running the show again in the spring. That would be awesome. So let's take a look at what I picked up real quick. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. I took everything and organized it into different groups of comics, kind of based on what I have. So I picked up these 2 books. They were just $10 and $5. Something is Killing the Children, #1, 8th print, and A Department of Truth, #1. I believe this is a 6th print. Something is Killing the Children was $10. Department of Truth was $5. That's fair market value. I just wanted these to have, kind of to read them to, actually, I don't have those #1s. I didn't jump on those quick enough. And then just a bunch of filler issues. The Web, which was a DC series that I've been reading. I'm reading comics. This is how far behind I am. Cover date March 2010. I had the first 3 issues of this. Didn't get the 4th for some reason. That was their dollar book. I picked up, this had not been on my pull list at the time, so I was missing a bunch of issues of Gotham City Sirens. This is a fairly popular book for a 2009-2010 book. So I picked up issues 4 through 8. Issue number 8 is a March 2010 issue. So that's what I'm up to. If I catch up on reading these, I do have issues 1 through 3. I'll be right in my wheelhouse in March of 2010. I finished a run. I don't know why I didn't have this book. It might be somewhere in my collection lost, but I picked up the last issue of Alpha Flight I needed, Alpha Flight #4. I've completed that series entirely. So this book I've been searching for. If I could find it, it shows I just hadn't come across it. Just an issue of Action Comics that I didn't have, 582. Nice shape. So I think I have every issue from at least 500 up of Action Comics, now that I have that one. I've been picking up recently a number of these, trying to fill these runs. Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, number 226. Nice Dawn Star on the cover there. Those Mike Grell era costumes. He did do the cover there. And an issue of 253. Okay, so some DC late bronze books. Again, trying to fill in that run. I have most of the issues of the later part of this series. Doctor Strange 46, everybody loving Doctor Strange nowadays. I think I have 44 to the end of the run of this series. That's from the early 80s, I believe. Seven Soldiers of Victory. I'm a huge Seven Soldiers of Victory fan. Not more so the earlier stuff, the Golden Age stuff, than the Grant Morrison run, but I didn't have every issue of this. I don't know why. Picked up Mr. Miracle #1. For some reason, I was missing issues 52 and 58 of Catwoman. Some nice covers there. Nice Zatanna cover on this one. Try to avoid the glare. So just filling in issues there. I think I have almost that. I made a mistake. I guess my eyesight is getting bad, and I was trying to read the app on my phone. I thought I had just finished this run, Marvel Fanfare. For some reason, I didn't have 57. Again, these could be issues that are like stuck to the back of something else somewhere in my collection. I don't know. But when I went through Marvel Fanfare in my collection, I didn't have 51. I thought I needed issue 26, which is this issue. I actually need 25. And I think they had that there, so I didn't complete Marvel Fanfare run. Going to be on the lookout for 25. This is a book. I don't have any other issues of this title, but I picked this book up, Frankenstein Monster #7, because I remember having this as a kid. It was one of the few Marvel. I was a DC guy, Batman, Justice League, but it was one of the handful of Marvel books I had, one of the few ones. I remember this cover. I have an excellent memory, so I've been trying to go back and fill in comics I know I had as a kid by remembering the covers. This was one of them. It was there. It was $10. It looks to be a nice shape. Who knows? Is Frankenstein going to be part of the monsters that they're bringing to the MCU? Who knows? If they bring Dracula, why not Frankenstein? That'd be interesting. But I guess as like a 7-year-old, I really like this cover. It is a pretty cool cover with them lifting that rock ready to throw it. I've been collecting Nexus. So these were like $1 bin books, no bags, no boards. I haven't gotten around to doing that myself yet. I don't know why I didn't have that. I was missing 2 issues of Nexus the Liberator, numbers 1 and 3 of the miniseries in the Dark Horse era. So I filled that in. I was missing the entire miniseries. I don't know why I didn't get this, of Nightmare in Blue, another Nexus series. I love Steve Rude's artwork. And there's a lot of 80s nostalgia. The Rocketeer is getting, I think, a show on Netflix. Who knows about Grimjack could be coming. But the Russo brothers are interested in that property. Maybe at some point we'll see Nexus. Omega Men, this 2006 series. I didn't have issue 1. I still need 2 and 3, but that was there. Cheap book. For some reason, I didn't have the first 6 issues of the 2006, I believe it is. Yeah. Blue Beetle run with Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle. So I picked up #1. That was like $5. I need 2 through 5. Let's see if I come across that. And so, you know, this is a property that's going to be on HBO Max, so having issue #1 isn't a bad thing. Then I picked up a bunch of books, and I'm going to put these in kind of chronological order of my, my DC 1972 collection. I've been trying to get every DC comic book from 1972. I think I'm probably about 70% of the way there. To be honest, the romance books are the most difficult to find. You're not going to ordinarily see them at shows, but they came out every month. So I think there were 5 titles. So that's approximately 60 books. I think one of them might have been canceled before the end of the year. But, you know, Falling in Love, Heartthrobs, Girls in Love, or Girls Love. Anyway, there were Young Romance. They came out every month. So those are the, I have most of the key issues from 72. I have another one in here later, which is a book I already have. So a Jimmy Olsen, a couple of Tomahawks, a Superboy. The vendor who sold this really loved this cover, this ridiculous cover with Super Baby defeating a gorilla. And, you know, come on. How can you go wrong with that costume? A Lois Lane. She's, you know, tied up. And I don't know, they're going to shoot something at her. World's Finest, when Superman was teaming up with different heroes, Green Arrow in this case, another Tomahawk, a Wonder Woman. This is, these Wonder Woman era, this is right before she got her powers back, and these kind of gothic covers, and of course there's some bondage going on there. Those are sought after. World's Finest, John Jones, Detective Comics, another Detective Comics. I love this cover. That is kind of reminiscent of like a Golden Age horror cover with that huge skull. That's really cool. Oh, here it is. I actually had it in here. I got this Swamp Thing #1 for $20. I already have 2 copies, I think, but it's Swamp Thing 1. It's not in great condition. There's a little bit of staining, but $20, that was a ridiculous deal. World's Finest with the Vigilante, and A Phantom Stranger. This is a really crisp copy. Most of these copies are pretty nice. I was trying to, if their copies didn't look very good, I took a pass on them, figuring I can get them better. Another run that I've really been working on is Adventure Comics. I think from 370 to the end of the run, including the digests, went to 503, 502, something like that. I'm missing like 1 issue. So I got this 258. He meets a young Green Arrow. Another 286. Mr. Mxyzptlk. Bizarro Mxyzptlk, no less. Pretty sure that would be a Superboy story. Then we have a lot of Legion stuff. Sunboy. This one I've been searching out. This isn't in the best condition, but this is a book I've wanted for years. 300. Adventure Comics 300, where the Legion of Superheroes get their own ongoing series. That's an iconic cover. It's been repeated in other Legion covers over the years. That's a really cool book. 305. Again, Superboy is still the main feature at that time, but by the time we got to 318, the Legion was on the cover. Some really cool Kurt Swan covers here. This classic where Triplicate Girl becomes Duo Damsel. Starboy gets kicked out of the Legion for killing. A lot of these were reprinted, I read as a kid, in the 100-page Super Spectaculars. The Luck Lords. And I think this is, one of the first, if it's not the first, it's one of the first Shadow Lasses. A great Neil Adams cover with the Fatal Five, Validus there. Another awesome Neil Adams cover. You know, he was doing covers of everything at this time. Supergirl and Ultra Boy on this cover. And then one of the later ones, I think I have almost every Supergirl adventure issue by now. So that was a really cool Adventure Comics run. I'd gotten a bunch of them filled in at Stormville about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So that was cool. Another run that I'm trying to complete, and I've gotten pretty far down there. You know, I still have to work on a lot of the early issues, but Justice League of America, number 12. Justice League doesn't have a ton of keys in it because, you know, the heroes all premiered in other titles, their own titles, and usually they're in any given issue, they had to fight like some sort of stone beast from outer space or the Shaggy Man. Not characters that really had a long staying potential in the DC universe or that have appeared on screen in any form. This is an exception. This is the first appearance of Dr. Light. So he's been a very key DC villain for a lot of different heroes over the years. And we even saw him on the Titans series if you watch that. Number 32. Okay. That's a clean copy. I was looking for nice copies. 48. I did bypass some copies that really weren't as nice as I wanted them to be. So there's that. The Mylar really is reflecting. 53. 54. Royal Flush Gang. Another reprint, number 58. So this is filling in a lot of those middle double-digit issues. 61. This is one of the few ones where you actually have established villains, such as the Penguin and Dr. Light, you know, the tattooed man there with the sailor's hat on. 63. Neil Adams doing the covers of Justice League at this time. 66. Another reprint issue, but with, I believe, yeah, this is pretty sure this is a Neil Adams cover. 67. That was cool. 69. Green Arrow still in his old costume. And an appearance in number 70 of the Creeper. So right now I have a really great run of Justice Leagues. It's going to be a little bit difficult. I do have number 2. Number 1's going to be the big one that's difficult to get. All the other issues are gettable because, again, there aren't any other key issues really in that title that demand money from collectors. I have a bunch of Hawkman. So I picked up another issue of Hawkman. This is number 12. Didn't get number 4. That's kind of on my want list. First appearance of Zatanna, in case you don't know. A showcase. This is Showcase 74. with Anthro. Yeah, first appearance. This is an interesting book. So now I'm kind of into the spec books, or older spec books. World's Finest 173. This is the first modern appearance of Two-Face. It's not really Two-Face. It's Batman dressing up as Two-Face. They had a problem with getting Two-Face through the Comics Code Authority. So the this issue, I get this. This is a decent copy. It's got some problems on the spine here, some wear right there, but $15. That was a great price. Then this kind of completes a run for me also. It's Marvel Feature #1. This completes my Defenders run. Kind of. I was really proud of the fact that I had my Defenders run complete. Every issue Defenders, giant-sized Defenders, and the three issues of Marvel Feature 1, 2, and 3 with the Defenders. And I was talking to one of the vendors, and somebody's there like, "Do you have the Treasuries?" I don't have the Treasuries. Maybe I'll pick them up, but I was happy about that. Another book that I picked up, actually, I'll show this one first. This is kind of a cool spec book. This is Avengers 71, the first, I believe this is the first Invaders. So that's a cool book. We see Human Torch and Cap and Submariner there fighting the Avengers. So that's a nice book. This other book is a book that I always wanted as a kid. When I was going to conventions back in the late 70s, early 80s as a kid, I never quite had the money to pony up for it. This is a reasonably nice copy. It's got some pen written right on the cover there. Right across the V and the E in Avengers, somebody wrote 50 cents. But this is Avengers 100. This is one of those books, I think from reading the price guide as a kid, I was always intrigued by it, that it had like all the Avengers ever in this one book. So that's kind of a fun book to have in my collection. Then a few spec books, some early 70s DC Bronze. You know me, I love some Bronze books. Commandy #1. I got this for a pretty decent price. There's a little bend in the corner, but this is probably, you know, an 8.0. So that's a cool book to have. And then another, I think I have, this is my 4th or 5th copy of Shazam #1. This is a nice, clean copy, probably an 8.5, maybe even a 9. This is a good book. This is an upgrade over what I do have in my collection, Showcase 97, the first solo Power Girl story. I don't know if they'll ever bring Power Girl into any sort of properties, but you know, in TVs or movie, but I think she's a really cool character. I would have loved to see Melissa Benoist playing an alternate Earth version of Supergirl as Power Girl, but I don't think we're going to get that. This book, this was another really great deal I got. Action Comics 521, the first appearance of Vixen, $20. I'd buy that all day long. I've been trying to pick this up. This is a fairly expensive book because it's, I guess this is late Bronze, and she's appeared in TV on The Legends of Tomorrow. She had her own animated series on CW Seed, and she's a diverse character. So, and she would have been the first African-American female character to get her own solo title, except for the DC Implosion of 1978. So instead, this was her first appearance. This book I picked up a couple of copies of, Supervillain Classics, The Origin of Galactus. Seems to be that everybody thinks, this is like a 9.0 at least, that Galactus is going to be coming to the MCU when we get the Fantastic Four. Picked up 2 of this because I've been picking this up all day long. I mentioned earlier in the video that the Russo brothers may be bringing a Grimjack property to either the screen or to a TV series. This is the first appearance of Grimjack. Starslayer 2 is the first appearance of the Rocketeer, and that book has just exploded recently. This is the first appearance of Grimjack. I picked up a number of these recently as a speculation. And if the Russo brothers are going to do it, you got to believe that it's going to be done right. I've been picking up, you'll see later what I've been specking on in more modern books, but I picked up Ted Kord Blue Beetle #1. Kind of interesting in this regard. I got both a direct edition and a newsstand. So I already have a couple of copies of this, but I think if you're going to tell the Blue Beetle story, you have to include Ted Kord. This was his first solo title for DC. He had his own solo title. This is right after Crisis, his own solo title for Charlton. I've been picking up this all the time. First appearance of the Simpsons and Comics, Simpsons Comics and Stories. Then, of course, if you watch this channel at all, you know Jaime Reyes, right? Infinite Crisis 3, all 3 covers, right? And Infinite Crisis 5, including, I mean, the George Perez cover. And as much as I love George Perez, probably my all-time favorite artist, the cover for this is the B cover by Jim Lee with this awesome Blue Beetle artwork on the cover. I got that for $40. I guess a little less with work with the vendor. But, you know, the glare is tough on the Mylar here. But that's, you know, it seems as though that's coming to HBO Max in some form. And then I picked up the set for $40. This has the Perez cover, doesn't have the Jim Lee Blue Beetle cover, but the set for $40, couldn't pass it up. Another little spec book, a book I love. And we know that this character is coming to the movies. Justice Society of America #1. The first appearance of Cyclone, who we see right here, right? The redhead next to Hawkman. She is the granddaughter of Ma Hunkel, the original Red Tornado. She is going to be one of the Justice Society members in the Black Adam film. So her first appearance, pick that up. Cameo of Jessica Cruz, Justice League #30. Been picking up Jessica Cruz when I can find it. A nice copy of Devil Dinosaur #1. Animated series, Jack Kirby, Insanity from the 70s for Marvel. So pick that up. I also picked this. This is a long shot spec, but another copy. I picked up 4 copies in one day a couple months ago of Metamorpho #10. It's the first appearance of the Element Girl, who later becomes the Element Woman. In the Sandman comic book, she was prominently featured as a character who had to make a deal with death because of her transformation into Element Woman. She couldn't die, and she was so completely depressed by that prospect that she needed to have death intervene on her behalf. This is a spec book, of course. Who's the new Captain America? We know who it is if you've watched Disney Plus at all. It's Sam Wilson. Cold key right now, but there's going to be a movie with Sam Wilson as Captain America. And I'm pretty well convinced that Sam Wilson's going to be a big part of the backbone of the MCU and the Avengers for the next several years. I think he's going to take that leadership role that they had probably planned to go to T'Challa. But with Chadwick Boseman's passing, that's not going to happen. Another spec book, and I thank Doug Bratton for this. When he was up at Stormville, and we were at Streetside Anthony's booth, he pulled this book out and said about this book as a spec, and it makes sense if this character ever comes to the MCU, because this is the first solo story of Wonder Man. Okay, I don't think he's going to come to the MCU wearing the members-only jacket, but he is an integral part of the Vision storyline. There was a little tease. His brother's the Grim Reaper. We saw a little tease of that in the WandaVision episode 2 opening. Again, these were like $10 books. I think I got the 3 of them for like $20. So it's a little bit of a spec, but you know, if he ever comes, that book's going to blow up. And I got it well below fair market value. Even if I just sold these, I'd make a nice profit, nice little profit. Then there's an adage in the community: if you can't get the first appearance, get the second appearance. So that's what I did. The second appearance of Shang-Chi, the second appearance of Luke Cage, and the second appearance of Ghost Rider. I actually have a couple of the Luke Cage and the Ghost Riders. So those are really cool second appearances. Now, the last 2 books I picked up were slabs. And I had such great success because it's, in terms of investment and speculation, it's a really safe bet to get a reasonable return on investment, to find a character, and I'll give you an example. To find a character who you know is going to be in an upcoming property, who's a more modern character, get a 9.8 and then flip that book when the book is hottest. I did it with Bloodsport. Bought two 9.8s of Superman #4 for about $190 each. Sold one for $350, one for $375 the weekend the movie came out. So there's a property coming out next year with a character who premiered just a handful of years ago. This book is from, 2013. So 8 years ago. And it's played by an Academy Award winning actor. So I picked up 9.8 copies. First appearance of Gore the God Butcher in Thor, God of Thunder, #2. And then I picked up another one. So I'm pretty confident that I will make a return on investment when the movie comes out. This book is not going to go down. We have not yet seen a trailer. We've seen, I think there was one either concept art or still photo of Bale in makeup for this character. But this book has nowhere to go but up. And the question is, trailer, movie, when is it going to be at its height? Buy low, and this isn't particularly low, but sell high. And this was the one book I was really hunting for that I knew I would find in terms of modern books that I wanted slabbed, because this is a pretty safe investment, and we'll see what kind of return on investment that can turn out to be, because that book is going to go up. The question is, does that character survive the movie? Who knows? But even if he doesn't, if I decide to sell it around trailer time and when there's a lot of hype or right before the movie comes out, we'll see. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on the prices of that book when we get closer to Thor, Love and Thunder coming out. Again, thank you to everybody who was at King Kon on Saturday. It was a terrific time talking comics. I could have come home with nothing and still had a blast. Just talking comics all day long with so many people from the community. Joe from 360 Comics. I spent most of the day hanging out by Streetside Anthony, going back. He's always like, what'd you get? What'd you get? Just that kind of excitement of seeing what other people got, and seeing kind of that old style comic book show. I think there were I maybe only saw 5 children in the show. It was mostly people just buying books. There were a couple of toys. There were maybe 3 people in cosplay. That wasn't what this is for. I'll be going to New York Comic Con in a couple of weeks, and I'll have that experience there. That's a different experience, and it's a great experience too. Shows that I can take or cons that I can take my kids to, that's fun, but that's a different experience than this. What this was for, go hunting for books, people from the community who were like-minded in terms of their love of comics, people of different ages, those that, like, when did you get into comics? What comics did you really get into? And you talk to people about what they're hunting for, the books that they really love, the series that they're trying to complete, guys with checklists. I was flipping through long boxes, and there was a guy next to me trying to complete his Tales to Astonish run. Just fun stuff like that. We all have, those of us who have been in the hobby, if you're collecting a run, that's a great thing to try to find, to try to hunt, especially a Silver Age run. You see my Adventure Comics run, I'm never going to get every issue of that series because I need still another 300, and it goes back to issue 1, or I don't even know what issue, when it was New Adventure Comics. Regardless, if I can get from 300 up, I'll be really happy. Got a lot of those Legion books. And if there's ever a Legion TV series or movie that could pop those characters, that would be great. This video has gone on way too long. I thank you for watching. I'm going to do another video this week with the books that I picked up that came in the mail that I didn't get, but I didn't want to include them in this because this was completely King Kon. We'll see what's up next. I still have to show exactly what I got in my Spider-Man box. Those books are in great condition. So I got to sort exactly through these, put them where they need to go. CGC, my reading pile, my to-file pile, my speculation pile. So I'm not even done with all that. And I haven't rebagged and boarded anything, so I still have a lot of ways to go. So in the meantime, if you enjoyed this, please hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment, especially if you were at King Kon. What did you think of the show? What did you pick up? I'd love to hear. So until next time, enjoy your comics.